I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
I wonder if Angel Reese still feels that way, because at this point, it's starting to look like she might be the reason people are reaching for the remote and turning the game off.
Life throws her lemons, she makes bricks. Bang! PSA to anyone watching, she is right-handed. Right-handed, by the way. She missed the rim by 3 feet, man. Bang! I gotta say, this is my favorite summer sitcom. Pecan? Butter pecan! Bang!
In a night where there was no Caitlin Clark, no Sophie Cunningham, no head coach, and somehow the Indiana Fever delivered their most dominant win of the season, all while Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky circled this date on the calendar, thinking they'd finally get revenge in front of a sold-out United Center crowd.
Well, Fever versus Sky isn't much of a rivalry, at least if you go by the results, because the Fever have dominated the Sky, and I guess you could say the sky is falling, at least in the standings and around Chicago, considering the situation with the team.
By all accounts, this should have been a disaster. ESPN had the cameras rolling, CBS had the primetime slot locked in. The stage was perfectly set for a Chicago redemption story. But what the basketball world witnessed instead wasn't just shocking, it was humiliating. Indiana didn't just beat Chicago, they dismantled them, demolished them, dragged them up and down the court by 27 points without their 3 most important leaders. This wasn't a fluke, this was a message, a bold, defiant middle finger to every critic who said the Fever were nothing without Caitlin Clark.
No Caitlin Clark, no problem. No Sophie Cunningham, no problem. No head coach Stephanie White, have no fear. The final boss, Austin Kelly, is here. The Chicago Sky, we came into your building and we just, from pillar to post, smacked you guys around.
Because on that court in the biggest arena in the NBA, something wild happened. The Indiana Fever proved they are way deeper and way more dangerous than anyone thought. But the best part? The humiliation didn't end at the scoreboard, it got worse. Much worse. Let's get into it. Picture this, you're the Indiana Fever limping into the United Center, the house that Michael Jordan built, without your star player, Caitlin Clark, who's sidelined with a quad injury. Your emotional spark plug, Sophie Cunningham, also out. And to top it all off, your head coach, Stephanie White, isn't even in the building due to personal reasons. That's 3 of your top leaders, gone. Meanwhile, the Chicago Sky are fully loaded and hungry for revenge after getting embarrassed by 35 points just weeks earlier. The timing couldn't have been worse. Indiana had already dropped 2 of their last 3 games without Clark's playmaking. Team chemistry was shaky, confidence was on the line, and now they were walking into the most hostile environment of the season. The Sky were convinced they had the upper hand. They'd just won 2 straight games against Dallas. They had momentum, home court, and a wounded opponent in their sights. This was supposed to be the Fever's breaking point, but instead of folding under pressure, something clicked. And what came next shocked everyone, including Angel Reese and the Sky, who were completely blindsided by what was about to happen.
Great job. All right, great.
While the cameras were focused on who wasn't on the court, nobody was paying attention to the man in the suit, quietly stepping into the most high-pressure coaching moment of his life, Austin Kelly. Just days earlier, he was Indiana's first assistant, a behind-the-scenes guy, Stephanie White's right-hand man. But with White out, the spotlight was his, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. This wasn't just any game. This was the first ever WNBA matchup at the United Center, the most iconic arena in the NBA, 21,000 seats packed, a national audience watching, and Kelly, with 0 head coaching experience at this level, was now in charge of guiding a wounded, underestimated squad into battle.
Austin Kelly filling in for Stephanie White. I got a feeling. Austin Kelly looks like a head coach on the side. Folks, there was none of this. Austin Kelly looked like the final boss on the sideline watching over the Indiana Fever team. His posture, his presence, yeah, head coach type stuff, you know what it is. The assistants standing up, giving me some energy, giving me some, yep. I liked what I saw tonight, folks.
But here's what nobody expected. Austin Kelly didn't just fill the role, he owned it. From the moment the game tipped off, Kelly had the presence of a seasoned head coach. His posture on the sideline was unshakable. His energy was electric. While Chicago's bench flailed for answers, Kelly looked like a chess master playing 3 moves ahead. He didn't panic, he didn't call frantic timeouts. He let his players play, and they fed off his confidence like wildfire. By halftime, Kelly wasn't just acting like a head coach, he was out-coaching a desperate Sky team that had everything to lose. And his team, they were locked in like never before.
Big game, obviously you're stepping in for Steph, but what are the feelings coaching a game in this arena?
Oh, it's I mean, you grow up watching the Bulls and you see Michael Jordan's, jersey and Scotty's jersey sitting up there. It's a surreal moment. But, I think the message for us is the same. We want to continue to build that consistency on both ends of the floor. And it's another opportunity for us to do that here.
But leadership can only take you so far. Someone still had to put the ball in the hoop. And that's where Kelsey Mitchell stepped up with a vengeance. From the opening tip, Kelsey Mitchell made it crystal clear she wasn't out there to replace Caitlin Clark. She was there to remind everyone why she's a perennial all-star threat in her own right. Her first bucket, a lightning quick crossover into a step-back jumper, splashed through the net before Chicago's defense even realized what hit them. Seconds later, she sliced through 2 Sky defenders for an and-one layup that left the United center gasping. Mitchell's body language screamed, "I've got this," and the Fever fed off it instantly. And that was only the warm-up.
This time steps right through the heart of the defense and blows by Chicago. The winds off of Lake Michigan. Loses Atkins, step back mini, knocks it down. Oh, the connection to Howard. How about the finish from Mitchell?
And she may be the quickest guard in the league with the ball in her hands.
With the spotlight burning brighter each possession, Mitchell's composure only sharpened. She hunted mismatches, blew by slower guards, and punished every late rotation with pinpoint kickouts to open shooters. By halftime, she'd already piled up 11 points, but what mattered more was the tone. She was dictating pace, forcing Chicago to chase instead of attack. Every time the Sky tried to run, Mitchell answered. A pull-up 3 here, a no-look dime to Aaliyah Boston there, a fearless drive that drew a foul and quieted the crowd. She finished with 17 points on efficient shooting, plus a handful of highlight reel. Assists that never show up on the scorecard but break a defense's spirit.
Here's Mitchell trying to attack Van Lith. Will slow it down a bit. This time steps right through the heart of the defense and blows by Chicago. The winds off of Lake Michigan. Timeout Sky as Indiana has built a 17-point advantage.
But as lethal as Mitchell was, the Fever still had more artillery waiting to fire. Because Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston were about to crank the humiliation up another notch. But Hull's barrage only softened the defense for the real interior nightmare. Aaliyah Boston. Remember all those pundits whispering that Boston looked lost without Clark's lobs? Tonight she answered with a 2-way masterpiece. She bullied her way to 11 points, swatted a career-tying 5 shots, and threaded no-look passes out of double teams like a seasoned point center. On one sequence, she blocked a layup, sprinted the floor, posted, sealed, scored. A 6-second clinic that left Chicago's crowd groaning. Every rebound she yanked down felt like a warning. This paint belongs to me.
20 in the 3-game absence for Caitlin Clark, leads the league in field goal percentage. It shows you right there.
The intentionality to get Aaliyah Boston the basketball.
The chemistry was symphonic. Boston's high post dimes found Hull curling baseline. Hull's gravity freed Boston for deep seals. And all the while, Kelsey Mitchell orchestrated with surgical skip passes. By the end of the third quarter, Indiana had 20 assists on 27 makes. Art in motion that reduced Chicago's defense to spinning tops. It gets worse, because Indiana's deadliest surprise hadn't even checked the Sky's vitals yet. The moment Ary McDonald bounced off the bench, the entire rhythm of the game flipped into overdrive.
All right, we won the boards. All right, and they're a second chance points team. All right, we won that area as well. Taking away their strengths was something that we did a great job of. All right.
Just extremely proud of y'all. We stayed locked in. We stayed together. We executed the scout at a very high level. Just multiple levels of effort. Everything that we've asked of you today, we put it in there, and from now, again, stacking days, building on those moments where we're stringing those possessions together, right? Building on those great possessions on defense and on offense. Great, hell of a job, y'all. High level, high level.
Chicago barely had time to recalibrate before Ary McDonald, signed less than a week earlier on a hardship contract, hit the floor like a caffeinated thunderbolt. Her impact wasn't just numbers, though 12 points, 3 steals, and a pair of ice-cold daggers from deep will keep a box score warm at night. It was tempo. McDonald pushed Indiana's offense 5 feet higher toward half court, stretching Chicago's shell until seams popped wide open.
But both teams facing a little bit of adversity, having certain players out or not at full capacity.
McDonald, a huge triple in the corner. Mitchell, patient in the corner, flips it up top. Boston, other side. McDonald, another 3. I'm loving it.
Kelsey Mitchell suddenly had extra runway to slice, Lexi Hull was feasting on drive and kick threes, and Aaliyah Boston enjoyed single coverage for the first time all evening.
Ary McDonald, old McDonald had a Ary with all love. Ary McDonald for 3, old McDonald had a Ary McDonald with a steal, old McDonald had a Ary McDonald drawing offensive fouls, old McDonald had a... Folks, what a glorious game.
And here's the kicker. With McDonald running the table and Mitchell, Hull, and Boston firing on all cylinders, the Sky's supposed revenge game flipped into a living nightmare. One headlined by Angel Reese's cold as ice stat line and Chicago's implosion on national TV. But brace yourself, because Reese's nightmare was only just beginning. If Angel Reese entered this game hungry for payback, she left starving and shell-shocked. On her home floor in front of nearly 21,000 fans, Reese's stat line read like a cautionary tale. 4 points on 2 for 7 shooting, 12 rebounds. That translated to almost 0 second chance offense and a front row seat to her team's unraveling. When Reese tried to face up, Lexi Hull's help defense slid over like a steel door, forcing a rushed kickout that usually ended in a turnover. By night's end, the Sky had coughed the ball up 19 times. The shooting numbers were even uglier. Chicago clanked its way to 32% from the floor and an Arctic 20% from deep. Statistics that looked bad on paper and felt worse in real time as groans rippled through the United Center each time another brick caught iron. Across the court, Caitlin Clark, street clothes, thigh-wrapped, stood and pumped her fists, while teammates doused acting head coach Austin Kelly in a victory shower. It was the loudest quiet statement you'll ever hear. The Fever don't need Clark on the floor to own this rivalry. They just need their belief.
The Indiana Fever destroying the pathetic Chicago Sky, the sad Chicago Sky, the distraught Chicago Sky, the mess of a franchise known as the Chicago Sky. Tyler Marsh, salute. Tyler Marsh, you see what a real head coach looked like there, Tyler Marsh? You see, folks, Austin Kelly didn't even call a timeout. She said, ladies, play.
Chicago's revenge tour officially canceled. Their season series now features a combined 62-point differential against Indiana, and the Sky's post-game tunnel sounded like an echo chamber of frustration, shoes squeaking, no voices, heads down. The message was clear. This team is deeper, tougher, and hungrier than anyone ever imagined. And the road to a championship just got a brand new detour sign shaped like a blazing red Fever logo. Aaliyah Boston anchored the paint like a seasoned all-WNBA center. Ary McDonald ran a brand new playbook with GPS precision. And somewhere above it all, Austin Kelly puppeteered the show without so much as loosening his tie. That kind of depth isn't a luxury, it's a playoff prerequisite. Remove the championship-tested head coach, watch her apprentice navigate rotations like he programmed the Matrix himself. This is the alchemy of culture, and culture travels. It shows up on the road in front of 21,000 booing fans and prints a 27-point demolition across their jumbotrons. It survives bad shooting nights and injuries because it's built on next player up responsibility, not highlight reel dependency. 1 week earlier, critics dismissed Indiana as Caitlin or bust. Tonight, that narrative lies buried somewhere under the United Center hardwood, steamrolled by a roster that just proved it can weaponize adversity. So when the confetti of water bottles erupted in the visiting locker room, the celebration wasn't just about embarrassing Chicago again. It was about planting a flag in the middle of the playoff landscape, a silent proclamation that said, double Caitlin if you want, ice our shooters if you dare, Game plan for Boston: McDonald, Mitchell, Hull, Cunningham, Coach White. Pick a poison. Indiana will simply shift shape and keep the pressure dial at 11. And here's the twist for every rival front office taking notes: Caitlin Clark will be back in a matter of days. Picture the league's most marketable scorer returning to a unit that just discovered its bench can drop a 27-point nuke without her. If that doesn't send shivers up Commissioner HQ, nothing will. But if you're still not convinced the balance of power just lurched eastward, consider the ripple effects this single victory set in motion. When history circles back to June 7th, 2025, it won't remember Clark DNP quad. It'll remember how a so-called one-woman show turned into a traveling symphony that drowned out 21,000 voices in the NBA's grandest arena. It'll remember Angel Reese, the supposed face of a Sky resurgence, reduced to 4 quiet points while her team coughed up 19 turnovers. It'll remember an assistant coach christened Final Boss after outclassing a veteran staff in his first head seat audition. And it'll remember the clip of Caitlin Clark grinning in street clothes, hollering "Get a water" as her backup brigade poured bottles over a man who suddenly looked like the architect of something far bigger than a single upset. Because that's what this was, an inflection point, a 27-point referendum on depth, heart, and preparation that told the rest of the WNBA the Fever aren't chasing relevance, they're chasing rings. They can outshoot you, outdefend you, outcoach you, and, when necessary, outlast you without the superstar jersey sales were built around. Good luck building a scouting report for that Hydra. So here's your takeaway as the league calendar flips toward the dog days of summer. If Indiana can hum at this frequency when their marquee names are taped to the bench, the moment they're fully healthy might feel less like a basketball game and more like a weather event. Tornado sirens optional, the carnage will announce itself. If you've got the fever, drop it in the comments, smash that subscribe, and ring the bell so you're front row for the next shockwave. Because one truth just got irrefutably exposed under Chicago's bright lights. This team doesn't need Caitlin Clark to dominate, but with her, they might be downright unstoppable.